AITA for refusing to pay my sister's $17,000 hospital bill. After years of supporting her financially, I walked into the restaurant with a knot in my stomach. It was my sister Chloe's birthday dinner. Any other year I would have arrived excited. But that night, the only thing I felt was a strange mix of exhaustion and contained anger. The host led me to the table. Everyone was already there. My parents, a couple of uncles, my cousin with her baby, and Chloe in the center, soaking up the attention as always. Jessica, finally, my mom Susan said, using her "we were already late because of you" tone. Chloe, who had just turned 28, gave me the smile she uses when she wants something. "I'm so glad you came. Sit down, sis." I gave her a quick hug, one of those that feels more like an obligation than affection, and sat in the empty spot they had saved for me. My dad, Robert, had already had a couple of drinks and was laughing too loudly at something my Uncle Rick was saying. My mom was fixing Chloe's hair as if she were still a little girl. My cousin Megan was showing photos of her baby to anyone who would let her. I suppose I should introduce myself, although at this table, everyone knows me too well. I am Jessica, I am 36 years old, and I work as a marketing director at a technology company in Chicago. In my family, I was always the responsible one, and when it comes to Chloe, that label became a chain. For 10 years, I was her safety net. I helped pay for her private university. I helped her get her first job through a recommendation. I put down a large portion for her car, and for the last 5 years, I had covered her rent punctually every month. The reason was simple, because that's what family does. That's what my parents have repeated to me since Chloe was born. "She's your younger sister, Jessica. It's your job to look after her." And I did. I kept doing it. Although lately, I wondered if I had crossed a line, if I had accustomed her to a world that owed her everything. "Let's order now," announced my dad, waving the waiter over. And then the important part, the gifts. The dinner itself was normal. Expensive food, decent drinks, and Chloe talking about her job at the marketing agency where I had placed her. She had been there for 3 years and according to her, they were on the verge of giving her a promotion. She had been saying the same thing for over a year. When the gifts arrived, my Aunt Carol gave her a designer scarf. My parents gave her a new tablet, one of the trendy ones. Everyone applauded her, said nice things, took photos, and then it was my turn. I reached into my purse and took out an envelope. Inside, there was nothing magical, just a printed sheet with the itinerary and the wire transfer receipt. The real money, $11,000, I had already sent from my banking app a couple of weeks ago. It was not a small gesture. It was a figure that had left my own funds tight. "This is from me," I said, sliding the envelope across the table. Chloe opened it as if she were on a stage. She brought a hand to her mouth in an exaggerated way, and then looked up so everyone would look at her. "I can't believe it," she said loudly so everyone would hear. "Jessica paid for my trip to Miami Beach. Everything included. What an amazing gift." She wiped away a tear that didn't exist. The table applauded. My mom looked at me with pride as if I had done the right thing. I smiled, but inside I felt something very different. If they knew how that gift had come to exist, they would not be celebrating so much. Almost a month earlier, I was at my parents' house for Sunday dinner. The usual. Superficial chat, a bit of gossip, and that feeling that even if I paid for and resolved everything, it was never enough. Everything was going normally until Chloe cleared her throat during the after-dinner conversation, just as we were having coffee. "I've been thinking about what I want for my birthday this year," she said with a studied calm. My mom's face lit up. "What do you want, sweetheart?" Chloe looked straight at me. "I want to go to Miami Beach after my birthday to a luxury hotel, one of those all-inclusive ones. I urgently need to rest." Then without a shred of shame she finished, "And Jessica is going to pay for it as my gift." I almost choked on my coffee. "What?" "Yes," she said, as if it were the most normal thing in the world. "You always say I should travel more, have new experiences. Well, here you go. This is perfect." I placed my cup on the table carefully. "Chloe, how much does something like that cost?" She waved her hand as if dismissing its importance. "Not that much, like $11,000. $11,000. I could not hide the shock. "For you it's nothing," she answered, her voice hardening. "You earn a lot. Don't play dumb. That's a very expensive gift, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. I can't afford that. Chloe leaned back as if offended. You can't, or you don't want to spend it on me? She narrowed her eyes. Seriously, I'm so annoyed with you, Jessica. You're so cheap. You have a good salary, yet you can be so selfish with your only sister. I felt my face heat up. Chloe, I helped pay for your entire university degree. I helped you with your car. I am paying your rent. I have supported you for a decade. What are you talking about? That's what family does, she shouted suddenly, standing up abruptly. We don't go around keeping score of what we give. You're so bitter, so resentful. My parents remained silent. Not a word. Chloe grabbed her purse and left. The door slammed shut with a force that echoed in my chest. I stayed there, looking at my parents, hoping that at least they would be reasonable. Do you seriously think I should pay for that? I asked them. My dad pursed his lips. Jessica, you earn more than she does. And she's always wanted to go to a place like that. My mom added softly, as if that justified everything. I have expenses too, I protested. I have plans. I'm trying to save for my own future. Your sister needs your help, said my dad firmly. Family comes first. I left their house feeling like I was being gaslighted. Was I really the bad guy for thinking an $11,000 trip was an exaggeration? The following week, my phone did not stop vibrating. Texts from my mom and dad, one after another. Chloe is very sad. Do you really think she doesn't deserve it? She works so hard, she just wants a nice vacation. You can do it, Jessica. Don't be like that. Don't be selfish. I held out as long as I could. But after days of pressure, of guilt, of feeling like I was the villain of the family for setting a boundary, I caved. I made the wire transfer for $11,000 and sent her a short text. Happy birthday. Enjoy the trip. Her reply arrived almost immediately. Thanks. I knew you'd come through. And now in the restaurant, everyone was applauding my generosity without having any idea that it had been forced out of me. While Chloe showed photos of the hotel on her phone, I felt a little bit of relief. At least this was over. I could return to my life and she would have her perfect trip. Chloe flew to Miami 2 days after the dinner. I returned to my routine work, the gym, my apartment in Lincoln Park, finally free from daily calls or demands. For the first time in weeks I could breathe. Then the notifications started. My social media feeds were buzzing. Chloe made sure everyone knew how incredible her trip was. Yoga at sunrise on the beach. Expensive cocktails at the hotel bar. New swimsuits. A perfect pose in front of the ocean. Each photo was captioned with phrases like living my best life or this is paradise. I looked at them while eating a simple meal in my apartment, feeling a mix of annoyance and resignation. At least she was enjoying it. At least she was over there and I had some peace. My mom texted me. Did you see your sister's photos? She looks so happy. You did a very nice thing, Jessica. I did not reply. It was always the same pattern. First they squeezed me dry. Then they applauded me when I gave in, as if that erased everything that came before. A week after Chloe left, I was at the office finalizing a presentation when a call came in. It was my parents' number. Strange. They almost never called during work hours. I answered. Jessica, my mom said, her voice sounding odd and trembling. It's Chloe. She had an accident. My breath caught in my throat. What happened? Is she okay? She was on a tour along the coast, my mom explained, her voice breaking. She climbed onto some rocks to take a photo and fell. She went down a steep embankment. I felt my hands turn to ice. I got up from my chair, already looking for my purse. How serious is it? What hospital is she in? I'll book a flight right now. She's alive, my dad said, and I heard him as if they were on speakerphone. She fractured her leg. She has some bruises and they had to operate. They said she was lucky. Tell me the name of the hospital. There's no need for you to come, my mom rushed to say. The doctors say she's stable. In a couple of weeks when they authorize it, she'll come back. Something in her tone stopped me. There was a weird pause as if they were hiding something. Put Chloe on the phone. She's resting, my mom responded quickly. When she wakes up, she'll call you. I hung up and dialed Chloe directly. To my surprise, she answered. What? Her voice was cold. Flat. Chloe, are you okay? Mom and Dad told me about the accident. I'm in the hospital. I can't talk. She sounded distant, almost annoyed. Do you need anything? Do you want me to come down there? She cut me off. No. I have to go now. The call ended. I stood there staring at my phone, confused. I had expected pain, fear, tears. Not that coldness, not that silent anger. Over the next 2 weeks, I tried to reach her several times. Sometimes she did not answer. Other times, she replied with a couple of words and hung up. My parents gave me updates, but they were vague, as if they were walking on eggshells. Something was not right. I could feel it, I just did not know what it was. When Chloe was finally scheduled to return to Chicago, I told my parents I would pick her up at the airport. It was the logical thing to do. She was coming back on crutches with a suitcase, tired. But my mom hesitated. Chloe asked that we go instead. But why? I can help. I can take her to her apartment, carry her things up, whatever she needs. She says she'd prefer if we helped her this time, my mom answered, avoiding my gaze even though we were on the phone. I swallowed my pride. It hurt, yes, but I thought she's injured, she's irritable, she'll get over it. That week, I sent her texts offering to bring her food, help with errands, whatever she needed. Her answers were short. I'm fine. Not necessary. I don't need anything. Then, exactly 1 week after she returned, I opened my email and saw something that made me freeze. It was an invoice from the private hospital in Miami. The amount due was $17,000. I stared at the screen as if I could not understand English. First, I thought it was a mistake. Why was it sent to me? And then I understood. Upon admission to the hospital, Chloe had listed my email as the contact and the person financially responsible, as if it were a given that I would cover it. I dialed Chloe immediately. Why did you send me this? I asked as soon as she answered. Because you're going to pay it, she said, as if she were asking me to pass the salt. I let out a laugh of disbelief. Yeah, right. Very funny. Seriously, why did you forward it to me? I'm not joking, Jessica. It's your responsibility. I felt a blow to my chest. My responsibility? How is your hospital bill my responsibility? Because you paid for the trip, she said, her voice hardening. If you hadn't sent me, I wouldn't have been injured. I was speechless for a second, literally, as if my brain refused to process her logic. Are you serious? You wanted me to pay for the trip. You insisted that I have experiences. Well, it happened, and now you have to deal with the consequences. Chloe, you were the one who pressured me for that trip. You decided to climb onto a rock for a photo. That has nothing to do with me. Well, I've already gotten legal advice, she blurted out, her tone rising. If you don't pay, I'm going to sue you, and you'll have to pay it anyway. You're going to sue me? It came out louder than I intended. Does that sound normal to you? You have the bill. Pay it before the end of the month, she said curtly, as if I were her employee. And she hung up. I paced around my apartment, unable to sit down. My heart was racing, my head was hot. How dare she? After everything I had done for her, now she wanted me to pay for her recklessness. And suddenly all the scenes came flooding back. The texts, the pressure, the family dinner where they cornered me, the restaurant table applauding my forced generosity. When I could finally think with a little bit of clarity, I called my parents. I needed them at the very least to put a stop to this. I needed to hear a sensible sentence. Did you know that Chloe sent me her hospital bill and is demanding that I pay it? I asked without beating around the bush. There was a silence. One of those silences that screams. Well, my dad said finally, the travel insurance didn't cover everything. And she doesn't have that kind of money, my mom added softly, as if asking me for understanding. I froze. Are you telling me that you believe I should pay it? Well, you did pay for the trip, honey, said my mom, as if that closed the subject. And you know that Chloe is still struggling. This is insane, I said. I am not going to pay that bill. Jessica, be reasonable. My dad started with his tone of authority. It's not that simple. Yes, it is that simple. No, that's enough. I hung up and threw my phone onto the couch. In less than 5 minutes, the bombardment started. Texts from my parents. Think about it, don't be like that. Family supports each other. Don't be selfish. And messages from Chloe that made my blood boil. She called me everything without using swear words, but with pure venom. Selfish, bad sister, shameless, resentful. You brought this on yourself. You're going to regret this. Every word hurt, yes. But more than pain, it was a kind of awakening. As if a blindfold had finally fallen from my eyes. 10 years of supporting her, and this is how she repaid me. I sat at my kitchen table with my laptop open. I took a deep breath. If Chloe wanted to talk about money, we were going to talk about money. But with numbers, with dates, with proof. I went into my digital files. I was always organized. I kept receipts, emails, and bank transfer confirmations. Not out of distrust, but out of habit, a need for control, or perhaps fear. I started a list. Tuition for her private university, tens of thousands of dollars each year, totaling close to $150,000. Help with her car, a down payment and monthly payments around $10,000. Rent payments over $1,000 monthly for 5 years, more than $60,000. Emergencies, security deposits, and loans that were never repaid, adding up to thousands more. The list grew and the total did too. When I finished, I stared at the number as if it made me nauseous. Over $200,000. More than a down payment on a condo, more than I had invested in myself in years. And it all went to Chloe, and now she wanted more. I opened a new email. I attached a PDF file with everything neatly arranged with dates and totals. In the subject line I wrote, pending payment. In the body I wrote without embellishment. Chloe, attached is a complete breakdown of all the expenses I have covered for you over the last 10 years. The total is over $200,000. You have 3 months to arrange a payment plan, or I will initiate legal action to recover the money. Jessica. I hit send before my courage could waver. When the email went out, something strange happened. I felt fear, yes, but I also felt power. For the first time in years, I was not reacting. I was deciding. 30 minutes later, my phone became an alarm. Calls from my parents. Texts, voicemails. Chloe writing as if her life depended on it. I did not answer. I opened my banking app and went straight to my scheduled payments. There it was. Chloe rent, scheduled for the 1st of the month. I canceled it with a tap. Then I blocked Chloe, I blocked my parents, and I blocked them on social media, everything. That night I slept like I had not slept in years. 3 days of silence passed. 3 days where no one demanded anything from me. I went to work, I met a friend for coffee. I signed up for a ceramics workshop that I had been wanting to try for months. It was as if a backpack full of rocks had been lifted off my shoulders. And then they knocked on my door. I peeked through the peephole and there was Chloe on crutches, her leg in a cast. Beside her, my parents, the 3 of them with serious faces, as if they were coming to teach me a lesson. For a second I thought about not opening, but I knew this confrontation was going to happen sooner or later. I took a deep breath and opened the door. Jessica, my mom started. We need to talk. Come in, I said without emotion, stepping aside. Chloe entered limping, making a drama out of every step, her mouth tight as if the whole world hurt her. My dad helped her sit on the couch. My mom remained standing, looking nervous. My dad took out his phone and put it in front of me. It was my email. What is this? He asked me, as if I had committed a crime. It's an itemized statement, I responded, of everything I have paid for Chloe. This can't be serious, my mom said, her voice rising. Family helps family. You can't just come and charge her for everything. I turned to look at Chloe. And why not? I said. She was about to charge me for her hospital bill. My parents looked at each other, uncomfortable. Chloe did not lift her head. That's different, my dad tried. Different how? I challenged him. Explain to me how it's different. A thick silence fell. It's different because you expect me to give and give, I continued. But when I set a limit, or when I ask for something in return, even if it's just respect, then I'm the bad guy. My mom opened her mouth, but I cut her off calmly. You have told me 1,000 times. You have pressured me 1,000 times. You have made me feel guilty for having boundaries. My mom pressed her lips together. And what are people going to say, Jessica? How do we explain this? You're making us look bad. You're making yourselves look bad all on your own with what you've done, I responded. I am no longer going to carry that shame for you. Chloe finally spoke quietly. I'm not going to sue you anymore. It's fine. I'll figure out the hospital bill. Perfect, I said. Then we can put this behind us, my dad asked rigidly. We're family. Yes, I nodded. And that's why I'm going to tell you something else. I took a breath. I canceled Chloe's rent, and I am not going to help any of you financially again. Chloe's face crumbled. What? I can't pay for my apartment without your help. You're going to have to figure it out, I said with the same coldness she had used with me on the phone. Find a roommate. Move to a cheaper place. Ask for a raise. There are options. Chloe started to cry. You're just going to cut me off like this after everything? This is cruel, my mom said, her voice broken. I did not answer. Cruel is treating me like an ATM for 10 years and still wanting more when I say enough. Chloe cried loudly with those tears that I had seen so many times, the ones that always ended up getting her what she wanted. But this time they did not move me, they tired me. I approached the door and opened it. You have to leave now. My dad carefully lifted Chloe and helped her walk toward the exit. My mom stayed a second longer, looking at me as if she did not recognize me. You've changed, Jessica, she said softly. Yes, I answered finally. I have. The following weeks felt strange. A void and, at the same time, an enormous freedom. I filled my time with things I had put on pause for years. Reading, going for long walks, seeing friends I had drifted away from because I was always resolving some drama of Chloe's. I started therapy not to fix my family but to understand myself. Why did I put up with so much? Why did I believe that the happiness of others was my responsibility? When I was just starting to feel stable, my assistant spoke to me over the office intercom. Jessica, your sister is here. I closed my eyes for a second. Tell her I'm in a meeting. She says it's urgent and she's making a scene in the reception area. Of course. Chloe never knew how to accept a no. Let her in, I sighed. The door opened and there she was. Still in a cast, but this time with a different appearance. Worn jeans, a simple t-shirt, almost no makeup. The contrast with her usual style was too obvious. It was a strategy. She wanted to look defeated. Jessica, she said with a trembling voice, please, I need to talk to you. What do you want, Chloe? I asked, pointing to the chair in front of my desk. She sat carefully, placing her crutches to one side. Her eyes were red. Her hair pulled back without any styling. I can't pay my rent, she said quietly. The landlord is already pressuring me. He's going to get a lawyer involved. I leaned back in my chair. That's a difficult situation, I said, not softening my tone. Please, she insisted. Just this one time until I can get settled. I have nowhere to go. What about Mom and Dad's house? I asked. She made a face. It's very uncomfortable. And with my leg like this, I need my own space. You need me to keep paying for your life, I told her without raising my voice. It's not that, she defended herself, and for a second her real tone slipped out. Then she corrected herself softly again. I'm struggling. Really, I barely have enough for groceries. Chloe, I said tiredly, do you have any idea how much I have spent on you over the years? I know, she said, touching her chest as if her soul hurt. And I'm grateful, really. A tear ran down her cheek, just when it was convenient. If this had been before, I would have fallen for it. But not anymore. If you were grateful, I responded, you wouldn't have tried to stick me with the hospital bill. You wouldn't have insulted me when I told you no. I was in pain, she murmured. I wasn't thinking clearly. I took a deep breath. The answer is still no. I am not going to pay your rent. Her face changed. The vulnerability switched off instantly. She sat up straighter. Fine, she said coldly. You're going to regret this. And then she started to cry loudly, in an exaggerated way. My office had thin walls. I knew that people outside could hear. Everyone is going to find out, she shouted. About what you did to me, how you abandoned your sister when she was hurt. I saw curious faces peeking through the glass partition. That's enough, Chloe, I told her. You're a bad person, she cried, raising her voice even more. After everything we've been through, I picked up my phone and dialed the number for building security. "Yes, Jessica," answered the guard. "Can you come to my office, please? I need someone escorted from the premises." Chloe's eyes widened as if she could not believe it. "You're calling security? On me? Your sister?" "Yes," I answered without trembling. "And if you come to my workplace to make a scene again, I will file for a restraining order." The guard, a large man named Mike, appeared at the door. "Everything okay?" he asked. "Yes," I said. "My sister is leaving now. Please accompany her out and make sure she doesn't enter the building again." Mike nodded, his face serious. "Ma'am, come with me, please." Chloe grabbed her crutches tightly. She looked at me with a hatred so clear it gave me chills. "This isn't over," she blurted out. "Yes, it is," I responded. "It ended a long time ago. I just didn't want to see it." When she left, I closed the door. I stood there breathing deeply. My hands were trembling, but not from regret. It was from relief. That was 4 months ago. I have not spoken to Chloe or my parents since that day. Through distant relatives, I have heard things. That Chloe could not keep the apartment and moved back in with my parents. That they keep telling everyone that I abandoned the family. And yet, for the first time in my adult life, I am living for myself. I moved to a better apartment. I started a proper retirement fund, and I even booked a trip for myself to Japan, a place I had always wanted to see but never allowed myself to even imagine because there was always something more urgent with Chloe. Sometimes, guilt hits me, especially at night, when memories of good moments come to me. I ask myself if I was too hard, if I was too definitive. But then I remember Chloe's face when I told her I would not pay her hospital bill. It was not pain. It was anger because her blackmail did not work. I remember my parents always justifying her, always asking me to give a little more, always treating me as if I were obligated. I remember 10 years of being a wallet with legs. Last week, I ran into my cousin Megan at the grocery store. She asked me how I was, saying my parents had told her I was going through something. I laughed. "I'm better than ever," I told her. She looked at me with genuine concern. "But don't you feel lonely without your family?" I thought about it for a second. "I was lonelier when I was with them," I responded. "Because they never really saw me. They only saw what they could get from me." She did not entirely understand. And maybe no one can understand it if they have not had to live it. Yesterday, I got a text from an unknown number. "Hey, it's me. I got a new phone. Can we talk? I miss you." It was Chloe. I stared at the screen for a long while. I felt that old pull, that habit of running to fix everything, of being the responsible one, of trying to make everyone okay even if it meant breaking myself. But not anymore. I wrote back. "I am not interested in resuming contact unless you are willing to acknowledge how you treated me and offer a sincere apology." I sent it, and then I blocked the number. Maybe someday we can have some kind of relationship, but it would have to be one with limits, with respect, with real reciprocity. I am not going to pause my life waiting for that to happen. For now, I am enjoying the freedom of not being anyone's ATM, of making decisions based only on what I need, of discovering who I am when I am no longer carrying Chloe or obeying my parents' guilt. And it turns out I like this person. She is stronger than I ever believed. Comment. Sometimes the hardest lessons we learn in life come from the people closest to us. Setting boundaries is not about being cruel or selfish. It is a necessary act of self-preservation. It is easy to lose yourself in the role of the responsible one, but your well-being matters just as much as anyone else's. True love and family support require mutual respect, not a measure of what you can provide financially. Walking away from toxic dynamics is incredibly painful, yet it often opens the door to genuine peace. Remember that you have the right to define your own life and protect your emotional energy. Healing from these situations takes time, so please be patient and kind to yourself throughout the process. By valuing yourself, you create space for relationships that are healthy, balanced, and truly reciprocal. I hope this story reminds you that choosing your own peace is never the wrong decision. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.